Hey, welcome to week 7. Don't have a whole lot of clips today because we're going to take a deep dive on a particular play. And the rest of them, we're really going to focus on rules and penalty enforcement. So, like I said, not a whole lot of clips, but really want to do a deep dive on one of these. So this play, this is a weird one. It's a complex play. Thankfully, it's not a common play. This is probably a Sasquatch. I don't know if I put it on the unicorn status yet. But look at the top of the screen. First thing we want to notice is we want to count our defense. We have 10 on the field right now. And this one coming top of the screen, he is number 11. So he had the 11th guy on defense coming onto the field. Because the defensive player doesn't have to be in between the numbers to start with. He can just come onto the field like that under certain circumstances. Remember, if he were an offensive player, he would have to be in between the numbers for some period of time. But defense doesn't have that situation unless you think, in your judgment, the coach is just slipping him on out of an illegal mean to deceive. But it's not a situation here. At least let's just not assume so. He's coming onto the field because he's the 11th player, and no, I'm supposed to be on the field. So he has both feet on the field for the ball snapped. There you see it. He's on the field, ball snapped. So, but he is not on his line of this. He's not on his side of the neutral zone. You cannot have encroachment. Rule 2.8 is pretty specific on encroachment. The player has to establish himself on his side of the neutral zone first. So encroachment's off the table. So you can only have at this point a legal substitution. So in this situation, we do have a legal substitution. Because he's on the field, but he is not on his side of the neutral zone. That's covered in 375 is a legal substitution. I think it's 232 maybe. That stipulates he's a sub. I think the way it words it, he is only a sub until he gets on his side, team side of the neutral zone. So he's not yet one yet. So at this point, this is a legal substitution. So let's cover the different scenarios first. It's a legal substitution because he is not on his team side of the neutral zone when the ball is snapped. If he were to come on the field and he's the 11th player, if he were to come on the field but on his side of the neutral zone when the ball is snapped, then you had nothing. If he's a defensive player and the 11th player, or the 10th player, or the 9th player, but any player but the more than the 12th player, or 12th player and above. So you have an illegal substitution unless he meets those standards. So if he's an 11th player, he's on his side of the neutral zone when the ball is snapped in this situation, then you have nothing. It's just a legal play. But because he's the 11th player and he is not yet on his side of the neutral zone, then we have a legal substitution. And the tricky part about this is deeps count the defense, right? But a deep's not really going to be able to tell whether or not he is on his side of the neutral zone yet. So you're going to have the wing help you out in that situation, which it makes it easy because as a wing, the ball snaps and you got a player crossing your face like this, well, you know you got a flag because something's not right. He's either the 11th player and he's coming on the field after the snap, or he's at least not on his side of the neutral zone after the snap, or he's a 12th player and we still have a flag. That's a situation where you would throw the flag and we'll figure it out after the play. So I hope everyone's clear on that. Right now, he is an illegal sub because he is not on his side of the neutral zone. Now let's let the play unfold. Alright, now we got a whole other can of worms to figure out here. So he's a sub, and now, not only is he a sub, he has influenced the play. He's made the tackle, and he's made an illegal hit. This is a spearing. It's hard to tell if it's spearing or targeting. It's at least a spearing, which is it's the same, same enforcement. You're still gonna have 15 yards. Distinction to be made though. This is spearing because he leads with the crown of the helmet and initiates the contact. You have the launch and the thrust and all that. But it looks like to me it looks like the contact is in the chest, which would make this spearing. Initiating contact with the crown of the helmet to any part of the body is at least spearing. If you initiate that contact to the head, neck, shoulders, and above, then we have targeting. You at least have spearing in this case. So now we just added complexity to this. So according to the rule, though, it's not illegal participation. The thinking here would be, well, you now have a player who's an illegal sub participate in the play, so it has to be illegal participation. But that is not the case. And the rule book's not 100% clear on this, but we got confirmation. Since he is the 11th player, you cannot have illegal participation, even though he influenced the play. You can only have illegal substitution in this scenario. Now, it kind of becomes a moot point because they're obviously going to take the 15-yarder here. Well, in either case, it would be the same. Your penalty enforcement is going to be the basic spot, which is the previous spot in this situation. A foul on defense, your basic spot can only be end of the run or previous spot. And since we have an incomplete pass, we can't go into the run. So both scenarios, illegal sub or illegal participation, and now in this case targeting, are going to be previous spots in this scenario. So hope that's all clear. Legal substitution. At this point, we're just having legal substitution. 5-yard penalty, previous spot. Now we got the targeting. So they cannot take both. They have to choose illegal substitution or targeting. Obviously, they're going to take the targeting. So what would make this play legal if you disregard the targeting completely? Or if we didn't have targeting? If he comes out, if the ball is snapped and then he's out on the field and then participates like this, now we have illegal participation. But since he's on the field before it's snapped and he's the 11th player, you only have illegal sub. Now, like we said previously, if he slips out on his side of the neutral zone, he's on the field before the ball snapped, legal play until he targets. So this is a complex play. Like I said, you're not going to see it a whole lot, I don't think. Like I said, I think this is a Sasquatch. But let's just recap it because we went through a lot of rule stuff here. On the field, he's a defensive player, player number 11. On the field before the snap, but not on his side of the neutral zone, makes him an illegal sub. If he had come on the field after the snap, during the play, then he'd be illegal participation. If he's on his side of the neutral zone first, though, then he is legal. All right, let's look at another wonky penalty enforcement. All right, so if you look at it's 10.3, yeah, Rule 10 is the one that deals with penalty enforcements, where you enforce, how you enforce. 10.3 breaks down the different types of penalty enforcements, or the different types of plays. And 10.3.1 specifically defines a loose ball. It says loose ball play is one the snap is included. So here we have a bad snap, goes over the quarterback's head, and we have a flag in the middle. I think the flag was for a chop block. Yeah, it looks like a chop block. So we have the foul, and it occurs while the snap is going on, or while this backward pass is what this essentially becomes. And like I said, 10.3.1 specifically defines a snap as a backward pass. So the key determination here is when this foul occurs and when this play ceases to be a loose ball play. Those are two key factors you have to consider in enforcing this penalty. So the chop block occurs pretty soon after the snap, pretty simultaneous. So the ball's still loose when the chop block occurs. So it is a loose ball because this ceases to be a loose ball when the ball is recovered and advanced. All right, it's not just recovered. If you recover it, then I mean it's not a loose ball anymore, but then it's also the down's over. So here we have recovery, so down's over. If he picks it up and then advances, the loose ball is then over then. So the recovery and the advance. So foul, live ball foul during a loose ball play, we enforce it from the previous spot. Then that's rule 10.4. I think it's in all that. 10.4.2. Yeah, 10.4.2. Previous spot. So that's how you officiate this one. A lot of, there used to kind of be that philosophy, you stiff the offense, but that's really kind of out the window. It's not always the case. So this is a loose ball play. So we're going to go to the basic spot becomes the previous spot. But remember, the key factors there is when the foul occurs, foul during the loose ball. So we're going to go previous spot. And the loose ball ceases to be a loose ball when it is recovered and advanced. At that point, then it would be a running play. So if the foul happened after recovery and the advance, while the ball is being advanced, then the basic spot becomes basically the succeeding spot where the run ends. But since this is just recovered, the play's over and it's going to be a loose ball foul. Alright, let's look at a couple of free kick fouls. Remember this one, so you look at Rule 6.3, it talks about the formation on a free kick. And that's where, in the rule change a few years ago, everyone has to be within 5 yards of the free kick line. So we had that here, everyone's within 5 yards. So one player can be outside 5 yards, and that's usually the kicker. So in this situation, they're trying to do the dual kick thing where you can, who's going to kick the ball. But they give it away by rule when you have one player outside the 5 yards. So in this scenario, in this formation, he is the only player who can kick the ball. So if anyone else kicks it, it's a foul. That's Rule 6.3b. So at this point, this is a foul. Is a free kick infraction, I think is the word for it. You get the false start symbol. And kill this 5 yards, re-kick it. And it's going to be the umpires make that call because he's the only one who can see who's 5 yards back, who's not, and who actually kicks it. Or if you're in a crew of 7, the back judge can do it too. So it's the false start signal. Kill it, 5 yards back, re-kick. Alright, we went over this a little bit a couple of weeks ago. Maybe I need to clarify it. So here we have a free kick out of bounds. Remember they added an option onto this a few years ago. So you can go where the ball went out of bounds. So here's like the 7 or so. They can re-kick it 5 yards back. They can take the ball 25 yards from the free kick line, which in a normal, unmoved by penalty kick would be the 35. But it's going to be wherever, just 25 yards from the free kick line. Those are your options. Or the added option from a few years ago, you can go 5 yards from where the kick ended. So if we deem it at the 7, they can get it at the 12. So those are your options. You can go 5 yards back, previous kick, or previous spot, and re-kick it. You can go 25 yards from the free kick line, which in this case would be the 35. Take the ball where it went out of bounds, or tack on 5 yards where it went out of bounds. Those are your options. What is not an option is 25 yards from where it was kicked, and then you tack on 5 yards. That's not one of the options. I mean, if that were the case, it would just be 20 yards from the free kick line. So let's make sure we know those options. Okay, 5 yards back, re-kick it. 25 yards from the free kick line. Spot where it went out of bounds, or spot where it went out of bounds, plus 5. Alright, let's look at roughing the punter. So the rule for this, I think it's like 945, I think. Talks about running into and roughing the kicker and all that. They don't give you a whole lot of guidance. It just says running into the kicker is contact that displaces the kicker that's not roughing. Gee, thanks. I mean, it talks about blocking and charging into, but it's not really clear. So it's purely a judgment call by the referee. So general rule of thumb is if they make contact, if they kind of go after the plant, the plant foot, or if it's just way late, like if you're judging roughing the passer, then you go with roughing. But here he's making a legitimate play on the ball. Does not make contact with the ball. Does not tip the ball. If they tip the ball, if they're going after the ball and they tip it, then running into and roughing are off the table. This scenario, he's going after the ball. It's a legitimate spot the ball. Gets the punter. We're just gonna go running into on that one. Now, if it's way late, or he just takes a dive right at his plant leg and takes him out by his plant leg, then we got roughing. In this situation, though, he's just going right at him, make some contact. It's hard contact, but it's not way late. Does not rise to the level of roughing. So it's just 5 yards. And with this, they can go 5 yards from the previous spot, or just do 5 yards back from the succeeding spot. Alright, that's it for this week. Like I said, it's gonna be a short one. I want to do a lot of rules focus and look at some stuff there. Really kind of make sure we're good on our penalty enforcement. So that's it for this week. Please stay safe. Cases are spiking. Do what you can to prevent it so we can continue on with football rolling into the playoffs.